Does homeowners insurance cover attacks by neighbors or by neighbors' dogs? That's kind of a two-part question, so let me cover part one, then I'll cover part two. On part one, let's talk about injuries that occur at your home because you are attacked by someone else's neighbor or someone else's dog, or by a neighbor or by a neighbor's dog. In those cases, your homeowners isn't going to pay for the claim you might have against the other person or their dog. That's a separate type of claim, but your homeowners insurance will pay normally medical payments, medical bills under what's called medical payments coverage that is intended to pay for injuries that occur on your property up to a limit of usually $1,000, $5,000 is pretty customary, one of those numbers somewhere in there. And it doesn't matter who did what wrong. It just covers any injury that occurs on the property. So if you fall down your own steps, your medical payments coverage might kick in and cover. If you're bitten on your property by a neighbor's dog, then that might cover. But now let's talk about what about a claim against a neighbor who causes an injury or a neighbor's dog. Well, in those cases, we're looking to the insurance on the neighbor's homeowner's insurance coverage for either to cover what the neighbor did or to cover what the dog did. Now, attacks by a person, a personal intentional attack, are rarely going to be covered by homeowners insurance. Very few homeowners insurance policies are going to cover and pay for an intentional tort, what we call an intentional act. So if you're attacked by a neighbor, it's not an accident, it's not something else, then if it's a deliberate attack, probably there's not going to be any homeowners insurance that would cover it. Doesn't mean that you don't have a claim against the neighbor, but then we have to try to figure out, okay, who's going to pay? Does the neighbor have money? Does the neighbor have assets? And we would go through and look at it like that. From the standpoint of a dog, it's different. If a neighbor's dog, or I say neighbor, anybody's dog, if a dog owner has a homeowner's insurance policy, then most of the time that will cover attacks by the dog, whether the attack happens at the location of the home or off the property. So if the dog bites you while you're visiting a neighbor or visiting a friend, or the dog leaves the property and bites you while you're out in the road, either of those would be covered normally by a homeowner's insurance policy, but we have to prove, did the homeowner do something wrong? It's not automatic. Just because you're bitten by a dog doesn't mean you automatically are going to get paid or have a right to a settlement. But if we can prove that the homeowner in some way caused the injury by either not keeping the dog chained up, or because they knew the dog was dangerous and they didn't tell you about it, or if it's a very vicious dog that's bitten people before, in many of those instances, then yes, it's going to be covered by homeowners, and yes, we can make a claim and have quite often recovered for our clients. So we have to look at what happened, and then normally if it's a dog that caused an injury, we can get a settlement for our client with the right facts, and we just have to analyze each case. Thank you.